Sorry, I'll be reading a lot from my PC. I can't bother memorizing it all. It's 11 p.m. Just I can't bother. Sorry. Uh, why did I even bother creating a set ish thing if I'll have my PC in front of it? One of the questions we'll never know the answers to. Anyways, this is a review, REVIEW, and shouldn't be taken seriously. If you want more professional criticism, go to IMDb or whatever. They look like they have nothing better to do. Hello guys, this is your host. Hello guys, this is your host, and today we'll be doing a review of a movie, and Philosophy of a Knife is a movie. It's quite infamous. It's a Russian-American pseudo-documentary directed by Andrei Iskanov, and it was released in 2008. As I remember, it was they started filming it in 2004 and finished it in 2008 and screened it at the same time. Screened that, I mean, like, you know, like released it. I'm stupid, sorry. The movie itself is about Unit 731. It's a secret Japanese military unit that performed probably the most inhumane and barbaric acts of torture and experimentation ever sanctioned by modern government. This was copied from Google. It's infamous mostly for its body horror, which I thought was pretty realistic. Really long runtime, slow, torturous scenes, and decent historically accuracy and weird pacing. The historical accuracy is decent because they got a lot of things right and some things not right. I overall agree with all of these points. What really bugs me though is the composition. Since, you know, I'm a movie man, sort of. And other than that, for me, someone who loves storytelling. And for that, the movie did a fine job. It was immersive, it was horrifying, it was realistic, and it was educational here and there. But it also could have been way shorter, and it could have looked better. In my opinion, the composition was trash. I went into it thinking that, oh, these scenes are gonna look amazing, because on YouTube I saw a tiny fragment of the movie on YouTube, and it had like two good shots that I really liked: a macro shot of a watch and a low angle Dutch angle shot of a staircase that goes down or up, whichever way you see it. And it impressed me. I was like, ooh, this is sort of a snuff film, as I like to joke, but it has good shots. If it has good shots, then I'm in. Just strap me in and let me watch that thing. But, you know, it tested my mental endurance and sanity, and for the life of me, I could not tell if the things they did to those poor actors were real or not. Again, in my opinion, an opinion that is worthless, the special effects were pretty good, despite what the critics say. But what do I know? I'm just a cameraman. And about the movie structure, it goes like this. First, they'll show you some archive footage and narrate over it. Then they'll have an interview with this Russian doctor, or who was fluent in Japanese, that lived in Harbin, the place where the movie took place, and at the end of the war translated the documents that the Soviets captured, or testimonies of the scientists/soldiers who served there at the Unit 731, to be specific. Then there will be a narration from the perspective of one of the nurses who also worked at the facility, and then there will be a 10 to 15 minute long scene of the bad guys torturing Chinese/Russian prisoners of war in many ingenious ways. But there will be more Russian than Chinese prisoners of war, even though that doesn't make quite a lot of sense. That's one of the points where the critics where they you know, how should I say, look down on the movie. They criticize the lack of Chinese actors in the movie, despite it literally taking place in China. The cycle of the structure, it will go on until the very end of the movie, and I think it's a fine structure. As the years went on and was closer to 1945, you knew that the torture would end, and you could finally go to sleep after all of this. Do these eyes look like the eyes of a very happy man that does not regret these 4 very intense hours of his life? Yes. I am quite happy, and that makes me... Let's skip this. The interview section gave you rough around the edges theoretical side of the situation, where the doctor described theoretically like what happened, what kind of experiments they were performing, their results, etc., etc. Again, it was theoretical. There was no emotion put behind it. It was just someone who read the documents or translated the things that the doctors or soldiers said, the testimonies. The nurse's narration was more intimate. It was with personal, like personal experiences / feelings. I am still unsure whether, like, how much of it is real, since I'm not gonna bother looking all of that up. That job goes to more professional reviewers. I am just sharing my opinion. The gruesome scenes just showed you how violent and evil people can truly be, how the healthcare you enjoy now is somehow related to those experiences. Experiments. We wouldn't really know if we could treat, for example, frostbite, how shrapnel works, like how it travels and in how many directions, what range is effective, how we react to certain diseases, STDs included, radiation, how long it would take us to bleed out after certain wounds, etc., etc. We wouldn't know that unless someone would perform an adequate experiment to test it. Isn't that true? Don't you agree with me? Yes, I'm right. I want to know the best part of it all. Everyone who participated in the torture of Chinese / Russian prisoners of war, men, women, children, a lot of children, they all got away with it. And guess who lent a helping, democratic and exploitative hand to them? The US of A, baby. A. I mean, they sure love freedom, so why wouldn't they free some more people, despite their criminal backstory. In return, they just asked for their research, which was provided, of course. It's equivalent to helping your friend if he lets you copy his homework. It is somehow related to it is an Asian version of Operation Paperclip, where the Americans kind of took a lot of Nazi scientists to help them with their science. It's just an Asian Japanese version of that, Operation Paperclip. The scariest part of the movie, for me, it was somewhere in the beginning. It's where they show the montage of 2 scenes: women in white dancing in the field and children being sewn together, like twins being sewn together to create this odd-looking human spider. And it actually walked around. That it wasn't fake. It wasn't archive footage. It was archive footage. At least, well, I hope it wasn't, but it was. I mean, how could they fake that? It was 2008. It's some kind of Russian director. It's not Michael Bay. How the fuck could they fake that? It was actually real, and it made it even worse for me, the fact that it was real. I'm of course not gonna show this, but imagine, just for a second, 2 children at around the age of 6, 5, 6. They're sewn together, 4 legs. I forgot if the amount of arms was the same. Either 4 legs or 2 or 4 arms, 2 heads, Two bodies sewn together, walking around, stumbling around very, very awkwardly. You know, stumbling. They were tripping all over the place. They were falling over, but they were still walking. And it all was mixed in with footage of women in white. I don't know, possibly that symbolizes pure women, you know, either you know, like pure, clean, or perfect, something like that, dancing in green fields of Nazi Germany. And let that sink in for a moment. It is horrifying. It is terrible. It is absolutely the stuff of nightmares. Now about the soundtrack. It was aight. I'd say it was aight. The theme song, which played during the credit sequence, like the opening credit sequence, it sounded like a morbid version of the Home Depot song. To me, I don't know. I'm quite the individual, so maybe it sounded like that only to me. Maybe to you it would sound just morbid, but I kind of liked it a little bit. You know, it was fine. The sound effects, they were exaggerated, too loud, and that's what makes them amazing. That's what makes them very, very great. That's what makes them great. It adds to the already traumatic visual experience, and you know, it helps keep you scared, grossed out, and immersed. I don't know. I'll probably play an example. I hope to find an example of someone chopping off a limb, or you know, like just cutting meat, you know, human flesh, and I'll try to play an example of that. Or if it's gonna be something else, I'll just title it.
Sometimes they took all the standard ammunition a soldier would carry and made the subject wear it. They then shot the subject with the enemy's weapon. The speed and intensity of blood loss were carefully recorded with the use of a watch. The experiment will continue until the subject suffered complete loss of consciousness or death.
Wow, I love editing. In conclusion, the movie was both amazing and terrible at the same time. Amazing for the sound effects, visual effects, the story, the atmosphere, and that's it. On the other hand, it was indeed way too long, and it could have been an okay-ish 2-hour movie or a good 1-hour movie. Some say they want their 4 hours back after watching it, and I don't know. I'd say I'm satisfied with it. Again, if I get somehow more f***ed up than I already am, I'll reap what I sow, move on, and become a better person. That's it. Recording is still going. Wonderful. In the end, what do we have? We have a 4-hour-long movie, basically a 4-long-hour torture film that was sort of historically accurate, had an interesting soundtrack that was a morbid version of Home Depot. It was informative. It had good visual effects. In my opinion, hold back your negative comments about, oh, you don't know that, you don't know anything about the visual effects. Go to hell. And got an interesting story that could have been told better, that could have been paced better, that could have been shorter, that could have been more accurate, that could have been more. We got an interesting movie that could have been more. That'll be it from me. This was your host, Absurd Pictures. Have a good morning, evening, day or night, wherever you live. I don't know if I'll ever do something like this again. Probably not. Enjoy it while it lasts, and it stops lasting now.